Hello everyone, welcome once again to another Power BI tutorial by Team SlideScope. In this part, we are analyzing survival patterns in heart disease patients, and here you can see a simple dashboard where we have information of heart disease patients, and we have created a simple target field called survival rate on the basis of data that is given here. I will explain you the data set, and then we are trying to analyze what is survival rate by age group, survival rate, and they have anemia, survival rate by CPK value. What is this? I will explain. By platelet count, by diabetes, by ejection fraction, by high blood pressure, or by serum creatinine. Here we have some filters that we can apply and see data for male and female separately. We will also see how page navigation will work. So if suppose we have this and we apply some page navigation, suppose we click here, we apply a page navigation and take it to another page, for example the dataset page, and then when we click here we will leave, it will take us to data page, and then can go back. So these type of settings will be discussed in this part: how to create this dashboard, how to arrange this simple background where we have these images. This is also an image, as you can see. So everything will be discussed. Let's get started. So here we found the data set: predict survival of patient with heart failure. Quick information is given, and here you can see we have age, anemia, high blood pressure, creatinine. Their range are also given. Then you can see if the patient has diabetes, percentage of blood leaving the heart at each contraction, gender, platelet, serum creatinine, etc. And they have also given more details about median, mean, survived patient, etc. So you can read that information here and some deep dive. So what we are going to do is simply download the data set from here. So you can click this download link. Make sure you are logged into Kaggle. I will provide this URL, and then you will get a CSV file with these 13 columns, and then we can load this CSV file in our favorite BI tool or data analysis tool and start analyzing. And if we have found survived, we can also show how many people are not able to survive or died. So in that case, this value will just be 1. So we will create another measure, and we will just write total deaths or died or total casualties, however you want to put it in a better way. I'm just writing it in a general sense, and we can create a copy. By the way, to create a copy, Control C and Control V, or click here, copy and paste. I may have done that quickly in previous part. So this we are copying because we don't want to apply the same styling again and again. Now we did this. After survived, we will add died here, so 96. So this way you will have your data set heading, you will have your dashboard KPIs, what KPIs you have. And now we will try to create some visuals. Before that, we have to create some other calculated columns also. So let's do that. So here you can see age is given. Okay. Range of age is from 40 to 95. So first thing what we will do is we will create a new column, and this age is given as a number, obviously as a continuous numerical value. We can create age group by clicking on more options and creating new groups that will create age bins. But here we will try to create a calculated column, and we will make this a categorical value. So for that we will right click, create a new column, and we will use age group. So here only I only have to use this name, because in another example this name was different. Let me just change these values and then I'll explain you what is happening here. Yes. So basically we are using a switch function. In switch function we use our first expression as true, which means if this particular case is true, then if this particular case is true, then this output will be written in the column. If this is true, this will be written. So that's why we write true here. So we are basically saying if age is greater than 40 and less than 50, so we will say 40 to 50, greater than equal to 40, because some patients are of 40 years of age. Then between 51 to 60, between 61 to 70, and then 70 to 70. Otherwise, we will say below 40. So this is what is happening if age is greater than 70. So this way we can create a group, and we can have our own labels in that group. So that's what it is done here. And now since we have calculated survival rate, we can find what is survival rate by age group. So we can select age group and we can select survival rate. So this particular selection will give us information of what is survival rate by age group. You can see in the age group 71 plus, survival rate is very low, and even in below 40 it is less than 50. It is in the data set, it is better in case of 61 to 70 as per the data set. Now we can use some other visual here. So we can use a visual like a stacked bar chart here, and you can see heading is survival rate by age group. We can go to general settings, effects, and enable shadow. We can go to title properties, choose a title color like this. We can make it bold, align it to center. This is survival rate by age group. And what we can do, actually I can do one more thing, that let's change the title back to blue color, and this is column. So we can go to visual setting, and this is column. Here we can select a color, so we can select this color. Here you can see fx written. What this fx represents is that we can apply conditional formatting. So you can see that we have a gradient setting. If And we will select survival rate here. So if survival rate is low, we can show this color. If survival rate is high, we can show this color. This is how it will apply gradient. So this is what it is showing, survival rate by age group. And here we can do one more final setting like effects, and we can go to visual border, enable it, use white color for it, and use rounded corners as 14 pixel. So now we will have this chart, survival rate by age group. Because we are trying to analyze survival rate, we will create a copy of it. So click on it, copy and paste. And here we also have information of whether these patients have anemia, yes or no. So it is given as either 0 or 1. So in that case, what we can do is we can simply, instead of age group, we can add anemia here, and actually here, because yeah, we'll select this and select anemia 0 and 1, and this will show like this. So for anemia 0, survival rate is 70, for 1 it is 64. But for this kind of chart, a better selection can be a donut chart, where you will be able to see it in a better way, where we can compare it. Low values are with light color and high values are with dark color. You can choose any other combination also. Sometimes people choose red, blue, green diverging, where red is danger, green is success. So you can do that as well. So this is survival rate by anemia. Then we can create another copy of it. So let's reduce gap a little bit. Yes. Next is we have creatinine phosphate. So in creatinine phosphate, we don't have values like that. You can see in creatinine phosphate, we have a huge range starting from 23 to 7861. Either we can use the same thing that we can create a group like this, or here in case of creatinine phosphate, we can create a simple new group. So click on these three dots, and here it has already selected minimum value and maximum value, and it will create n number of bins, and size of each bin will be 559. This will be the creatinine phos- it is not phosphate, creatinine phosphokinase, sorry. So on the basis of bin size, how it is given. So here either you can take something like, let's take 1000, okay, or what you can do, you can say we want to divide it in number of bins, and that number of bins can be 15, okay. So it will create 15 bars now. Instead of creating these many bars, it will create 15 bars. So that's what we can do. So here again we can, and again a particular chart for this type of data will be, a better chart for this type of data will be stat chart. So here now we are going to use this group, and now you can see survival rate by group. As we already know that survival rate is given like this. So here in this data we can remove legend. So now it is showing this. So this is that minimum value 23. Here survival rate is this. If this value is on a higher rate, survival rate is higher. You can see here in this particular range we don't have any values. So this is what it shows. It has created 14 bins or 15 bins, and in every bin it is showing survival rate. Okay, so that what you can see. And in short, they are calling it CPK. So we will just write rename for this visual as CPK. So that's what you can have. So survival rate by anemia, survival rate by CPK. If you want to add some more information here, like for example, I will select line and stack column chart. It will not change the data, but now I will have line axis. So in every group of CPK, if we want to see how many people survived, obviously we know the survival rate here. So we can add it as a line. So you can see now we have a line which is showing this data. We can change it also like this. So you can see that column is now representing total number of people who survived. So actually number of people who survived in this group is higher as compared to this. So you can add this type of information in your charts as well. And you can go to lines, and it, you can have some more information like here line style is solid, you can select dashed. Colors is also given, so you can select color something like, let's say we are selecting this color. Markers is given, so we can select markers also. So these type of settings can be done, and even for markers shape and their size can be selected. So whatever you want to do, you can do it from here. Like these type of settings can be done. And data labels you can enable, series labels you can enable. So these are the settings that you can do. So this is Another example here also you can add that. So this is survival rate and survived by CPK, where one axis is representing survive and one axis is representing survival rate. Let's create another visual now. Now, in order to find survival rate by diabetes, we can copy this and paste it here. And here what we'll do is I'm just going to use a different type of chart, pie chart, because diabetes is also given like this 0 or 1. So in this case you can see survival rate is 67.82% in diabetes no and 68% in diabetes yes, so which is kind of reverse as per the data. And in detail labels we will just show data value because we don't want to confuse it with actual percentage of this pie chart. So that we have. Next, let's create copy. So basically we are trying to understand, and in this case for example when we are creating a machine learning model, so this particular feature diabetes will not create too much effect on our prediction because here you can see the values are very close in both cases. Then we also have ejection fraction for blood. So this is also given like this from starting from 14 to 80, which we can group as high and low. But let's say we want to use it um, without that. So one type of chart can be a scatter plot where we can add this. So here we can have ejection fraction on x-axis. So because this will be our kind of input variable, and our survival rate in this case will be like this, and we can have don't summarize here. So now this is don't summarize where you can see survival rate lowest is 11 and highest is 100% on the basis of ejection fraction value. So you can see this is how it is changing. A higher value here is representing that for ejection fraction of 80 survival rate is 100%, and for ejection fraction value of 17 it is 50%. So this is what it is showing. So after don't summarize we can also go to trend analysis, and here we can enable a trend line showing a positive correlation. So yeah, that means if we have a better ejection fraction, survival rate will also be better. That's what it is telling. So this will represent that, and here you can have that relationship. Similarly we can create another copy of it, and you can see I am using these guidelines to align them properly, and we will have it it compared with high blood pressure. So here we have ejection fraction, survival rate. Similarly we can add high blood pressure here, and we can say don't summarize. So in high blood pressure it is given again as either 0 or 1. So we will again go back to our donut chart where we have this. So high blood pressure 0, survival rate 70%, in case of 1 survival rate this. So you can see how these different vitals are affecting survival rate in the data set, and that is the point of doing this analysis. And I'm just reducing the size to make it 4 column. And after blood pressure we also have platelets information. So again for platelets, as we can see there will be a big range. So for platelets we will use this because when you have a big range in your numerical data, so you can select it as a scatter plot to compare it with another numerical value. So here we have platelets information, and we will use don't summarize. So let's see what is this representing. Here you can see In most of the cases where platelet count is very high, survival rate is in the higher range, and for all lower values it is how it is represented. And we can disable the legend, and this is how it is representing survival rate by platelets. So let's do another thing. We can go to create new group now, and size of bins everything will keep automatic, and then we will use our chart. So we will use a clustered bar chart here, where on y-axis we will use platelet bins. So you can see starting from minimum in lower cases how survival rate is there, and if platelet counts are very high, survival rate is also 100%. So this is survival rate by platelets. We can rename it for wins. Obviously this is primary analysis, so we are just considering these variables. Later we will create a more advanced chart as well. Here we are trying to focus more on this design thing also. So because some student requested how to create this, we saw somewhere. So but later we will have it more uh, details or in this particular analysis, in this particular project, where we will create different type of visuals predicting this data as well. After platelets we also have serum creatinine information. Let's try to add that, and looks like here also we have a big range. You can always check columns which have a big range like this. You can always create a bin out of them. So you can create a new group. Let's do that. And this is what we can do without labeling them, or you can do some research, and as far as we know, like people in the who have creatinine value lower than 1.5, they are in the healthy range. Then what is alarming range, what is unhealthy range. So you can create groups like that as well. Here we are only applying serum creatinine here and trying to analyze it with survival rate. So we will have stack column chart once again, and here we will have serum creatinine. So you can see survival rate is higher in case of serum creatinine 4.545. This is what it is given as per the data set, because creatinine maybe has more effect on kidney rather than heart, but I'm not sure. I'm particularly not sure about. If some medical expert is watching this, you can also comment in the comment section and let everyone know. And sometimes these data sets are also created with some simulation, so they may not represent actual case. But if you get actual data, you can create a report like this. So now we have this information. Now to add page navigation, as I said, so here also suppose I want to add data set. So I'm just removing it, because let's say here I just want to have data set. So we'll rename and have data set here, or data information. So I'll get rid of these visuals, keep other things, and here I will have data. But before that, I want to add one filter here, let's say for male and female. So because we have not used gender here, like what is survival rate in gender, survival rate in male and female, we can do gender specific analysis in part 2 also, that I will try. So please subscribe to our channel, because a lot more videos are will be there in this series, in this data set. Now here if we add gender, so we have a slicer. In that slicer if we add this, so it is showing us this slider. If we add slicer settings and instead of between we show as a tile, So it will show 0 and 1. But before that we have to understand what 0 and 1 are. So as per their explanation, 0 is woman, 1 is man, because they have already changed it to a binary value. So now, but for others we have to show it as man, woman. So here you can see I have added this column. Let me show you the formula. We are using simple if function. So we have created a new column. Right click here, create new column as we did. Right, if in the data set gender equal to 0, then male, then female, otherwise male. So that's what now we are getting. So now instead of this we can simply add gender, and if we click female or male we will have this data. So because we have tile, so we can reduce its width so that we can show it as a tile. So this is what we have here, and I will change the position. So now you can see positions are swapped, and this is done with sort axis descending, because 0 and 1 will be sorted. We can clear selection, and we have gender information here. In this filter we have values. So like we have this font color, we can select this font color, and this is slicer header. For slicer header also we can try to increase value size, but I think it will not increase. So in that case we can disable it, because we already know what these filters mean. And if you want you can select their background color, etc. You can select background color, select some color like this, like by default what background color will be selected, and when you will select data how it will change. So you can do that. Here we have background, so we will go to effects and disable background, and we can increase their size. So let's arrange everything properly. So this way you can have this, and you can have more settings like general settings, properties. You have padding, like you can increase or decrease that using this. So you can try different settings from here, and this will be our dashboard. For male you can see how many total survived, how many total died, their survival rate 68%, female 67%, and data is changing accordingly, which you can check here. As I said, we can have a data set here also. So let's have this filter copied here also, and we can sync visuals. And now we will add a simple matrix here. This matrix, because we just want to represent data or data set. And here you can select your important column like age, anemia, creatinine, death, diabetes. You can see when we are selecting them, it is showing us aggregate values, and it is not showing us, you know, like it is not showing it like a table, because we don't have any ID that represent patients. We don't have any index column here. To add an index column, what we can do is we can right click. First let's save this. There are many ways of doing that. So we can right click here, and we can edit query, and here you will see Power Query Editor, where you will have add column. So here you can see we have add column where we have index column. So we can add this index column, and we can reposition this. This index column will automatically assign index or rows, some unique numbers to each row. You can see. So we have this index column here. You can see that you can add index column from 0 or from 1 or from some custom range. So it's okay. We just need unique IDs. So now we will go to home, close and apply. Now if you will first select index column as your column, So we'll use a table here and we'll have index column. Then you can select like platelets, anemia, creatinine, death, which is target, this. So however you want to represent the data set. And like we already have survival rate. So we have selected survival rate and you can rename them like sum of ammonia is given, so you can rename it just as anemia. Okay, because whether you select sum, whether you select minimum, maximum, everything is going to represent same value because you are showing it for, you know, you are showing it for different purpose. So that's what you can see. And every obviously in every case survival rate will be 100%. So this way you can select the data set, and if you want to add some conditional things here, you can add that. Like you can go to URL icon or just a minute, cell elements, and for example you want some icon or background color. Let's say I'm showing this that gradient, and let's say for survival or something. So for example we have death event. Lowest value can be shown like this, highest value like this. So lowest value with a dark red, higher value with a bright blue. So you can see in your ID column whichever values are lower will be represented like this. So this type of things can be done, and this is our data set. We can go to style preset and select some style like minimal or bold header. So you can have these values and select more column. More related to this will be discussed later. So we have dashboard and data set, and for that we can insert a shape because we want to create a navigation also. This was also asked by the student who asked. So for navigation, let's see what shapes we have first. So okay, we have these different shapes. So let's use this shape, or you can add some custom shape also. I'm going to use this. I can add a custom shape in the design itself, but I'm going to use this shape. In this shape, let's give a style color, again same color that we are using, and we can have some icons. So I already have those icons. So in my assets folder I have some icons, so you can see like this. So here one icon is this where it represents data. So I will simply add this icon which represents data, and just a minute, and I will put this icon here. What is the purpose of this icon? We are going to apply an action, and this action will have page navigation, and destination will be none because it is on this page itself. And then another icon can be added like this. So here we have table. So this is another icon. Obviously I'm going to change their values, and if you will click here, so it should take you to another page, and that is data set. So this way we can create that. So first let's fit, and if I control click I will go back to this or go forward to this data set. So here we should have these icons as well. So I will copy this entire thing and paste it there. Here in this case page navigation should take to dashboard. So that's the basic idea. So if you click here it will take you to this. If you click here, so this becomes a navigation. So what we usually do, like in navigation, if suppose this is not primary, so we can select a different color. That is something that I am going to explain in the second part, as more dashboards are coming in this series, so that's why I have kept it simple. So this is a simple analysis. Let me try to increase its height. Yes, will be better. So this is our simple survival patterns in heart disease patients, and we have two things here, data set and this. And later we are going to create another dashboard representing other information. Here I'm just going to change color. I don't like a very darker. So in cell element we have FX. So for dark, let's select this. For light, let's select a light blue. Just want to represent. Yeah, it is better. So this way we have these values, and if you actually arrange them in sum of, obviously sum of sex will not mean anything. So we can rename for this as gender, and we can actually have the gender column which we created. So you can have like this. So we will work on this in a better way. Our purpose for this part was to create a dashboard like this so that we can get some insights from it. Thanks for watching this part. If you have got some information, please like this data. Please like this video. Please subscribe to our channel so that we can bring more videos for you. Thanks once again. Have a nice day.